The first time I came to Germany, the first Christmas, my first New Year was full of premium tears. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Detutu. If you're new here, I'm glad you're here. Please consider subscribing. I share information about the lifestyle and experiences of international students in Europe. Today I'm going to talk about the struggles of international students in Germany. Nobody really talks about what international students go through when they change the environment, how homesick you feel, especially during the holidays. It's December now, and some international students are still in their home countries, right? But the first time I came to Germany, the first Christmas, my first New Year was full of premium tears. It was just different because I missed the feeling of having to go home for the holidays, um, cooking together in a group, gisting, talking, hosting visitors, visiting friends. I didn't have that year, and I cried. I'm not even going to lie about that. I cried in my room. Fine, I spoke with my family members, but it was not the same. If you've not checked out my video about culture shock, I'm going to link it up here so you can check it out. I feel to be able to overcome this, it's really important for you to have a community, maybe educational community, a community of people in maybe a church or a religious organization, or maybe friends who you have the same interests. For example, maybe you all like hiking, or you like doing something interesting, maybe reading books. You can create a book club, or anything, anything that catches your fancy. So having a community, I would say, is really important. They don't have to come from your home country. The international office of most universities have events for international students, so that way you can meet people. I've met people by participating in events like this, events organized by the international office. Volunteer in whichever way possible. There are different avenues to volunteer, even though now that we have COVID-19 restrictions and all that's happening right now. You can volunteer online. If volunteering is something you like to do, or if you find a cause that you think you're passionate about, then by all means try to volunteer, have a community, interact with people with interests as you, or people who you would like to be like, or people who do something that you're fascinated about. So that's the first one. Out of the struggles of international students, I think the hardest burden is finances, and I have a couple of points about this. In Germany, international students are expected to show a means of support, which is currently at this point, as at today, it is approximately 10,000 euros every year. Some cities accept you having a job contract, a long-term job contract preferably, that earns you a particular amount of money, and then they calculate the balance over a period of 12 months, and then you have to block that amount. For example, if you're working a mini job and you earn 450 a month, and if on average you're supposed to have 850 euros for your expenses per month, then that means you have to block 4,000 euros by 12. That'll be 4,800 euros in your blocked account. Sometimes they do it that way, sometimes they don't do this, but I would suggest that you check out with your Rathaus and your foreigners office and see what works in your city. So one of the things I want to buttress on is the fact that do not think any job is beneath you, and always look at a job as being a phase. Like, it's a phase, it's not something you do for the rest of your life. It's just something that you do for now to sustain yourself, pending the time that you have something that you are actually passionate about, or something that is related to your field of study, if that is what you want to do. So if, for example, you find a job in as a salesperson or as a cashier, for some people they don't find jobs like this. Some people have to do cleaning jobs. Do not think it's beneath you. You clean your house anyway, so why should it be a problem if you're cleaning somebody else's place and you get paid for it? It's a job. You're not stealing. Any job you do that is diligent, you're not stealing, you're not scamming people, and you're doing it because you want to do well for yourself, I think you should be proud of that job. If you were in your home country, you probably would not be doing that job. But circumstances have changed, and maybe they need somebody who speaks their language. That's another struggle, and you do not have that skill just yet. So just try and do something that can sustain you for the time being. It could be for 2 months. But while you're doing this job, try as much as possible to apply to jobs that are best suited for you. So that way you don't do it for the long term. People have found opportunities through menial jobs, Okay, so just do it with your heart, be diligent in it, get your money, and shoot for your next level, shoot for the next thing that you want to do with your life. Apply to the jobs while you're doing this job. The important thing is not to starve, okay? The important thing is to survive here, is to be able to sustain yourself for the duration of the time that you're here. Now, talking about that, some students also make the mistake of registering for credit cards. Okay, now this is just my personal advice for you. It's up to you to decide if this is something that you want to adhere to. Now, if I had a younger brother or a younger sister, and he or she were to be coming to a foreign country, for example, like Germany, my first advice to you would be, do not register for a credit card. How credit cards work is that they give you an amount that you can spend, okay, but you pay interest on this, and your income is not consistent. So why do you want to put yourself in debt just because you want to fund your blocked account? Manage your finances efficiently. I'm going to share some tips on how to do that shortly. If anyone suggests that you get a credit card, tell them no, you're not interested, that I told you that you should not register for it. There are ways you can manage your finances. Maybe I'm going to do a video about that later. Don't do it to yourself. You're going to be in debt. And the excuse for some people would be, well, you need to do some payments with credit cards and all that. There are banks that offer you a MasterCard. It's PayPal, and you can use your MasterCard. So you don't have to have a credit card to be able to sustain yourself in Germany. Please and please, I'm hammering on this now, do not register for a credit card. Even though at that point in time you think it's helping you to extend your visa and all of that, if you don't have a job, you realize that you're spending that money and you don't have a means of paying it back, and the interest piles up. So just saying, don't do it, okay? Another thing about finances is to cook in bulk. So meal prepping is just a suggestion from me because it worked for me. So what I'll suggest is you cook and then you put them in containers, put them in your fridge or your freezer, and then whenever you want to eat it, you heat it up and then you eat it. That saves you time, as instead of having to cook every single day and you're spending about 3 hours or so to cook a meal. You know, it's not beneficial for you because you actually do not have that type of time, especially when you're working and then you're tired. Like, nice to yourself and meal prep. Cook once or twice a week, it's better. Occasionally you can eat out, but do not make this a norm, because otherwise you spend all your money. And another thing that I personally struggled with was the language. In Germany we speak German, okay, and when I first got it, I didn't bother to learn anything. I didn't bother to learn any language because in my head I was thinking, oh, my program is in English, so I don't need German at all. My advice is try to learn German from wherever you are. That is like priority. It should even be the first point I mentioned. But yeah, I'm saying it now, so it still counts. Learn the language. You don't have to be a pro immediately you arrive here, but learn the basics and try to stay consistent as you're learning so that you improve over time. Create a balance that works for you. International students struggle with time management. I have to say that because you work, you're studying. Sometimes we struggle with studies because it's a little bit different from what we are normally used to back home, and you also have to save money for the renewal that is just 12 months away. So it's a lot of stress for you to manage at the same time. Do not be too hard on yourself. You can speak with the international office. They offer some help, especially for international students. So you can send an email to international office if you have financial issues. So you might want to explore that if you're experiencing some difficult time with sourcing for money or finding a job or anything like that. It is not for the whole time you're studying here, obviously, it's just for a period of time, because they would expect that you're also making active effort to improve your status. I would also like to say, this is in summary of all the finance struggle, is also cutting your coat according to your cloth. You don't have to pepper anybody. Like, live well, okay? But you don't have to do it what somebody else would think about you, because everybody is facing their own struggles. Everybody is thinking about how to make their lives better. I don't think anybody really cares about, oh, somebody is wearing a mic. Of course, I know some people care about that, but it shouldn't be your priority. There are other things that you can think about. So other things that you can do with your time. There are other things that you can do with your finances. You can do with your money. It's okay to have these things if you have the money for it. Do not live above your means. Try as much as possible to learn easy financial management. My advice is have an Excel sheet or a Google sheet where you write your expenses for a period of 3 months. So your rent, how much you spend on rent, how much you spend on health insurance, how much you spend on feeding, on miscellaneous, if you use the gym, how much you spend for your gym subscription, include all of that and some other things that you spend. I don't know what you spend money on. Write everything out and calculate the average over a 3 month period. And that way you kind of have an idea of how much you spend on average every month. And then you can save the rest towards your blocked account instead of spending all the money just because, okay, you earned it or you deserve it because you've suffered. You have to save money for raining days. It is really important. Try to create a balance between social life, your finances, your education, and make it work for you. Some things take priority over others, and you have to decide personally what takes priority for you and work with that. If you finishing your studies is one of your priorities, staying and completing your studies is one of your priorities, then I'll suggest that you manage your finances well. It seems like this whole video is going to be about managing your finances because I think it's the major struggle that most international students face in their countries of study. This is a funny one. It's a very funny one, trust me. One other thing that I think I personally struggle with was that I used to live, I don't live in that with that mentality anymore. I used to live with a constant fear that any slightest mistake I make, I'm going to be deported. Because it's not my home country, right? So I can't tafele and just do anything I want, right? So when I first got here, I when I first got here, there were instances whereby I did things that were not right. Okay, I'm not a bad child, but what happened? I'm going to give you a few occurrences. The first instance was you have a semester ticket that allows you to go around your city or around your state, as the case may be. So what happened was that I didn't go out with my semester ticket, and I was checked and I didn't have my ticket. So I was thinking, oh my god, I'm going to go home, you know, that kind of thing. Because I've broken the law and all that. But that did not happen. And I was told I'll pay 60 euros. I only forgot my ID card and my semester ticket back at home. Like, yeah, but he can't guarantee that. He still needs to see my semester ticket. So he told me I have to pay 60 euros. Which thankfully I did not pay. Okay, so and then he said, okay, that if I'm actually a student, I have 7 days to go to their office and to submit my ID card and my semester ticket at their office so that they can cancel that sanction. So I went there, but I still had to pay 5 euros. But 5 euros and 60 euros is still win-win if you ask me. So yeah. The second case was related to food. I like moi moi a lot, and any opportunity I find to make it, I make it. So on this particular day, I was living in an apartment block in my previous city. I was on the 4th floor. I'm going to look for a picture. I think I have a picture of the house because it's a really nice building. I like brick houses. So yeah, I'm going to look for the picture and put it here on the screen so you guys can see it. So what happened was I was cooking moi moi on this fateful day. It was not a weekday, it was a weekend. I think a Friday/Saturday or a Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Yes, I was cooking moi moi. I just got some plastics that I could use to cook. You do not cook moi moi with plastic, it's not healthy, by the way. Yeah, so I was cooking moi moi with plastics and I forgot it on the fire. I think it didn't have enough water and it got burnt and the fire alarm went off. I was in my room because my room then was a little bit soundproof, right? So I completely forgot. I didn't hear it loudly enough. And then I just opened my door. It was blasting. was like, okay, what happened? It was very silly of me to even ask that question because I completely forgot I was cooking. I've even forgotten what I was doing in the room. Anyway, so everybody came out. Outside the building was full of people, tenants, their friends. Everybody was outside. So the fire alarm came, policemen came. I didn't have a mini heart attack, but I was almost crying actually because I thought there was no way I am going home. Then when they came and they asked me, okay, am I the one cooking? I said yes. And then they requested, okay, my residence permit. I was like, not done. So I went to my room. I was a little bit reluctant to give it to them, but they took it. They checked my card. They checked my um they checked my status. I think they were able to check my status anyway. So they checked. They're like, okay, that I should not use plastics to cook anymore. They themselves carried the pot and put it outside. They aired the kitchen and they put up the alarm, and they're like, okay, that everything is fine, I should not worry, blah blah and all that. So yeah, I was scared. Okay, I wouldn't even lie, I was scared. After everything happened, it was a tough time for me, but like, it's part of the things that sometimes international students experience, because they're not really sure what you would do that would require you to either pay a sanction or to maybe get deported. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I hope that's not anybody's case. So yeah, like, that's all about the struggles. I have experienced some interesting things in Germany. You don't have anything to worry about. You might be sanctioned, yes, if you do certain things that you're not supposed to do. I hope my video was helpful. If you have any questions, you can send me an email, seyiotegbayo.com, up on the screen, or send me a message on Instagram as well. It's been a while I've posted my Instagram handle on my videos. It just always keeps my mind, so I'm going to put that down here as well. In my next video, I'm going to talk about how to handle homesickness. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing, liking, put on the notification bell so that every single time I post a video, you'd be the first to know. I post videos once every week for now. And yeah, if you have any question that you think would be relevant for people to know, or that you yourself personally want to know, hit me up and I'll make sure to shoot a video about that. See you in my next video. Bye.